I was a 30-year-old graduate student in 1990 living in Philadelphia. And my mother had a wonderful mother, and she cared for me, was trying to keep up with me. And she said to me, son, I know you haven't been going to church, and I want to encourage you that you really should be going to church. And so I took that to heart, and I was raised in Presbyterian churches, so I went across the street to what turned out to be a pretty liberal church. I could see when I first got there it wasn't going to be a church I would fit into. And when I first moved into my apartment building, there was a young lady who had tried to witness to me, and I had not really let that get very far. But she had mentioned 10th Presbyterian Church and given me the directions. And I remembered that a couple of months later. And I had missed the morning services, so I went to the evening service. And I will never forget walking into that grand old sanctuary, and there was James Montgomery Boyce preaching the Word of God with authority and spiritual power. The text was Hosea chapter 3. And he was expositing both the character of sin as Gomer descends into slavery, and then the redeeming love of God as Hosea, at God's behalf, purchases her out of slavery. And as he pressed home the implications to the sinner's life, I believed in Jesus. And I surrendered my life to Jesus that night, and I was aware that I did so through the Word of God. Sometimes people will say to me in my ministry, you can't really just preach the Bible. You can't rely on Bible preaching. And they're wasting their time on me because I know that I can. I was saved by the preaching of the Word of God. And I was a very unlikely convert. In a number of ways, I really was. And the Word of God had power to save me, and God had mercy on me. I think of Jesus going to Matthew at the tax collector's booth and sovereignly calling him by his word. He did that for me. And that he changed my life through his word. And so I will never forget that. And without a doubt, my philosophy of ministry, my reliance on the power of the Word of God, stems from my own experience as a sinner who was saved by the preaching of the gospel.